Greetings, and I believe we are live. Hello, my name is Jeremy, and you are watching PB with Jay. This is part of our live interview series that we do intermittently here on the channel. So I am very, very excited to bring you today's guest. We have in the past, we do a lot of different kind of interviews on here. We have interviewed people with weight loss and success stories in the plant-based world, which is what we're doing today. We've interviewed cookbook authors. And so if you have your own whole food plant-based transformation story and you want to share it here on the channel, send me an email at pbwithjeremy@gmail.com and let me know. And I would love to consider sharing your story here on the channel. But today I'm sitting down with someone I've probably known for, I'd say, years now, through PB with Jay and the videos, and he's part of our Mighty network. His name is, and his story is something that I find just tremendously inspiring. His name is Malcolm Smith. So Malcolm once weighed nearly 105 kilos, which for those in North America is, I think, a little over 300 pounds. I'll let him confirm that. And he lived mostly on a fast food diet at one point, but after deciding to go plant-based, he's lost almost 100 pounds, definitely over 90, I believe. He found a new love for cooking, for fitness, and for life itself, all while being a father of 3 young kids. So get ready, because today we're going to have a real honest conversation about change, resilience, and what's possible when you give plants a chance. And we're also going to give Malcolm a huge applause because he's in Perth. It's also like 11 p.m. there.
Yeah,
so
pretty much, yeah.
Thank you, Malcolm, for, like I said, we don't often do, I haven't done a morning one here, but this is the only way to make our time zones work.
Fair enough, yeah.
Thanks for joining us. And he's also like a one-man PB with J merch store. He's even got the water bottle going. So,
yeah.
Thanks for representing the PB with J love, buddy.
To be fair, it's kind of a usual thing for me. I actually wear it out a lot, so.
Love it. So give us a picture of what you were eating like, and kind of how your meals went before you kind of discovered whole food plant-based, and leading up to what that discovery was like.
All right. So first of all, my diet was all over the place. It was this, that, and everything, except pretty much veggies, believe it or not.
Were you one of those people that just didn't like vegetables?
Oof, even as a baby, I couldn't keep them down. I was 15 when I started eating tomato. I was 16, 17 when I started eating lettuce. I didn't like tomatoes. I literally had potato, carrots if they were steamed and drowned in honey. And that was pretty much my limitations.
Wow.
So, wow. Yeah, growing up, my high school foods kind of consisted of mostly frozen stuff, sausage rolls and pizzas and fish and chips and all that kind of stuff, and kind of carried a bit of that into growing up, except I did cook a bit more, but cooking things just like simple, like sausages and simple steaks and bits and pieces. And over time, just kind of going to Macca's and servos or petrol stations, getting cheap junk food, or running down the shops, like having like a bag of chips and a couple cans of whatever kind of drink.
Yeah. So when you had like home cooked meals growing up, what kind of meals would have those? What would that have looked like?
A lot of the time, simple things like sausages with mashed potato, or doing something like my mum would pretty much kind of stop trying to push everything. So I'd have things like sausage rolls with chips or potato gems or all those kind of things. It would be a lot of easy things. Yeah.
What's a potato gem?
Potato tots, like little mash, like tiny little hash brown kind of things.
Okay,
I
so
guess
yeah,
tots and stuff like that. I don't
yeah,
know
we would call them
what.
tater tots or hash browns here.
Yeah. Hash
Okay.
browns for us are like big kind of rectangular or triangular kind of thing.
We call them that as well. We have a
Yeah.
lot of like the same word means multiple things.
Yeah.
English is
Oh,
not it's not helpful
well,
for people coming from another place.
sorry. You say chips in Australia. You've got your hot chips that you can get from like a fish and chip shop.
Yeah.
You've got chips that you can buy in a packet and open up and just eat as you go. And then you've got like everything that is remotely a chip is chips.
Anything that comes from a potato could be called a chip.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Or crisps. Crisps are chips.
Crisps are chips, yeah.
Crisps are also chips. Yeah, I knew that.
They're the ones for the bag.
Great. Yeah. Yeah. And for here in North America, chips for us are potato chips, or what you would call crisps. And then we say French, because you guys don't say French fries at all, right?
Oh, if somebody says it, they'll know what you're talking about. Like,
Right.
it's not like nobody knows, but the first thing that will come to mind is chips.
Yeah. But we have fish and chips shops, so people know what that means. We just don't use it. But still on the menu, it will probably say French fries, which is funny. Anyway, back into we could just talk for an hour about colloquial food language stuff. So what was what brought you to the change then? So what was the moment, or if there was a moment, or what led you to, first of all, just realizing that you wanted to make a change? And then what about plant-based made the right choice? And there's anything along the way that got you there too?
Honestly, my wife, 100% on her. She went vegetarian for a while. I kind of did that with her for a while. And then she stopped after a few months, and I kind of carried on for 9 months with that before reverting back to omnivore. Okay. Then she eventually said, you know what, I'm going to go vegan and that. So I go, all right, well, I'll cook and I'll do a bit of omnivore stuff, a bit of vegan stuff, a bit of vegan stuff that we can make omnivore kind of thing. After about a month of her doing that, I found that I was cooking new things. I was cooking things with better flavors. I was cooking things that I've never used before, things that I've never made before or even eaten before. And I was finding that I was loving it. And I went from going, well, I'm probably going to have meat and cheese and all that in 4 out of 7 to, okay, maybe 1 or 2 out of 7. And then I told her, look, if you can keep this up until the end of January, I will go over with you. So basically give her 3 months to stick with it, which is usually her turning point.
Right.
I decided on Christmas Eve that, nah, screw it, I'm going over. I just liked it more. I found it was more exciting. It was more fun. It was a whole bunch of stuff that I was enjoying. And literally Christmas Eve. Don't ask me why Christmas Eve, but that was the day that it just clicked in for me.
I think that time of year, there's just a lot going on with people, like getting up to New Year's. I don't know, do you guys have like New Year's resolutions over there the way that it's kind of a thing here?
It's a thing, but it's a thing in the background.
Yeah, right.
Like everyone knows it, and 9 times out of 10, somebody will say they've got a New Year's resolution.
Yeah.
I don't think it's massive of a big thing that everyone kind of goes, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah, people announce it. No, it is. I mean, I don't think it's a huge thing here in that way either, but it's definitely, I just know that time of year, but it's also coming out of the holidays, right? We're all indulging a little bit more. Yeah. So it's not uncommon for that time of year for people to sit back and go, huh. But it's interesting that at Christmas, so Christmas Day, what did you have for Christmas Day for food?
Well, because she was already going for a vegan thing. We'd gone to a specialty store near us. We'd gotten a vegan roast. We had a couple of things. My mum knew that she was doing that. We were going to my mum's for the day. And so there was already going to be some food there that was definitely going to be fine for her. And because of that, it was already food there for me. So that made it easier.
Yeah. And how has that been with other people in terms of like people in your life supporting or not supporting the way you eat now?
I mean, my side of the family is supportive. They're like 100%. Like, went to my sister's place. She made sure there was something there that I could have. Knowing my nephews and all that, we have non-stop random discussions about food anyway. One of them likes to cook, one of them. So me and him will talk about that kind of thing. We'll be like, I'm like, oh, you should try this. He goes, oh, no. It's like, I like this. I'm like, oh, yeah. So what do you do with this? It's like, oh, yeah, this. It's like, and another one's just like, oh, no, I couldn't do it. And I turn around and go, all right, then. I start going through his snacks. I'll take this. I'll take this. I'll take this. Why are you taking this? Well, you don't like vegan stuff, you know. These are shapes. These are vegan. Oh, yeah, these chips. These are fine. I can have these ones. You know, you don't like it. I'll take it. And he's like, give them back. So, you know, we have fun with it.
Well,
on my wife's side, her mum, her sister, and all that, they've been pretty supportive. We've had no big major issues. Nobody sits there going, why? I can't do that. I can't believe. No. Like, no, we've had nobody like go against us with it. Everyone's kind of helped us along and tried to make sure there's always something, you know. They've always gone out to make sure it's like, all right, well, we're doing a barbecue. All right, we'll make sure we get some plant-based sausages and we'll cook them up for you. You know, it's like, all right, well, we'll make sure like this salad doesn't have any cheese or something in it, or the dressing, the mayo's one without eggs and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So family have gone out of their way to definitely help and be accommodating.
Well, that's amazing. I know that's not the case for a lot of people out there, so you're very, very blessed that way. That's lovely. Yeah. We always get nervous because we have our family on both sides are very sweet and lovely, and they want to try, but it's almost like 9 times out of 10 they'll forget that we don't have cheese or dairy, and so it's like I'll just notice it at the end. I'm like, so is this plant-based cheese? Because you can tell the difference just looking at it, right? The grease and whatnot. It's like, oh, well, you can eat cheese. It's like, yeah, really. I mean, I can eat anything. I could eat a pen if I chose to make. But it's like I don't. So we just usually bring our own just so it's not stressful for anyone else, and especially with us. Like our clan doesn't. I mean, Ephraim does. My son doesn't love like the faux meats and whatnot, right? Like he and I will eat that, but other people, my daughter and wife, do not. So for us, it's just like we'll just bring something that we can absolutely eat, and we'll bring enough that other people can have as well. And don't worry about us. We just came for the hang. We always bring something as well, you know. It's whether it be like for my mum's birthday the other year, you know, we made up a like, knowing my sister was going to have some plant-based sausages, knowing that she was going to make a simple salad, we made a big pasta salad for everyone to kind of partake in. We even made a a white chocolate cheese. I made a white chocolate cheesecake. Using the plant-based cream cheeses and stuff like that. And yeah, it's like, and because my mum's got issues with dairy as well, so she kind of, and she loves cheesecake, you know, made that and took that up as well. So so it's interesting. So it sounds like, so you weren't doing much of your own cooking until you started eating more this way. Is that correct?
I wasn't doing much variety of cooking. It was always the same 8 meals, 10 meals kind of thing. Half of it from the freezer, half of it very simple. Throw it in a pan, it's done.
Yeah, which is, you know what, not uncommon for me. Like I'd say before I started, you know, dating Wooly, I probably didn't do much. I probably, exactly the same rotation of bachelor meals for myself. And because she was vegetarian when we met, I was kind of wanting to learn what I could cook for her. And I think just like you, we have a very similar trajectory where we just got kind of nerdy about it. And it's like, oh, I can try this. And this is a new thing. And It's it kind of just inspires creativity.
Yeah. Tell you what, the one thing that I've found that was the game changer for me, nutritional yeast.
Right?
Yeah. Because I have to admit, it took me 3 to 4 months to stop wanting to have cheese every time I saw it. So having that in my back pocket made things so much easier.
So how do you use nutritional yeast for people that aren't familiar with all the things it can do?
Well, it depends on what it's for, what I'm doing. Sometimes, like, I'll make taco soup, one of my favorite things. Literally got some of it in my fridge right now for tomorrow's lunch, actually.
For those that don't know, Malcolm was one of our recipe testers for the cookbook. So he
I had good fun with that too.
Yeah.
But I'll just sprinkle that on instead of using like a grated cheese or anything like that. Other times, it'll be like cheese sauce recipe as well. Again, great thing, love it. I'd never have enough of it to freeze. I always end up using it all before I have that opportunity.
Yeah, I have to make a double batch if I want to freeze some because I end up. What's great about that cheese sauce, and I'm not just promoting my cookbook, but I'll just throw it into like a wrap, or I'll throw it in on top of some soup that I'm warming up, and it just kind of works its way into all meals.
It just tends to make several toasties for me.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, and what I love about nutritional yeast too, for those that don't know, unless I'm getting the number, I think it's 3 grams of protein per tablespoon. Is that right?
It's great protein. It's got good B12 usually, because they 9 times out of 10 fortify it with B12. It's good for iron, if I remember rightly, as well. I might be wrong about that last one. I'm going off memory from months and months ago, admittedly.
Yeah. But definitely a protein boost. So even just putting like a sprinkle of it on is going to bump up your meal by 3 grams of protein. I
also like I'll even put it like, instead of using a cheese for a pizza, sometimes I'll just be lazy and just throw that on. It's a great substitution for that.
Well, when you think
it doesn't melt, but it gives you the flavor. It's a lot lower in the calories. It's got a good amount of protein for what it is, and all in all, it's a great balance for things. Yeah.
Just looking at so I threw a little thing on the bottom. So if anyone has any questions, we've already got some in here. I'll hold them off for a bit. We'll get back to them in a second. But if you have any questions while we're going through, throw them down in the chat, and I will definitely get to them as we go along. What was the meal that kind of surprised you the most when you first started cooking this way? Was there one particular meal that you ate and you're like, oh, I could eat this for forever? Or if this is plant-based eating,
I have a funny feeling it wasn't something complicated. It was probably something like a curry or a dal, like an Indian thing. Not something I've had a lot of, but it was something that I was able to put so much different stuff in that I wasn't normally using, and really found that I loved.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it was just one of those surprising recipes that just kind of threw a bunch of stuff, that some of it I hadn't seen before, some of it that I hadn't used before, some of it that I was familiar with, and just gone, this is actually really good. I can't remember exactly what it was, like, because at that time I think we were trying like 4 new recipes a week. I was having that much fun playing with food. So it was like, we're trying something from this, we're trying some of that, and just seeing what worked for us and what didn't.
I'm still discovering stuff all the time. Like we're in the middle of doing a review of Amy Dean, Broccoli Mom, for those who are familiar with her on YouTube. She has a holiday cookbook that she put out, and she's using rice paper to make like a beet Wellington, so like a take on like a beef Wellington. So, and for me, I'm like, well, I've never thought of using, because my wife is gluten-free, can't have like puff pastry and whatnot, right? So, there's a million things we'd love to be able to make with a puff pastry, but it's almost impossible to find a gluten-free one. But it's like, oh wow, if we can use rice paper. So stuff like that is I'm constantly learning new things because people are so inventive in this space, right?
Yeah. It's amazing, and it's just fun playing with combinations of flavors, figuring out what you can add, what you can swap, and
So I've got a couple. I want to talk about the weight loss in a minute, but first, we've got this kind of a two-part. We got comments. We got Halloween Dixie. Love this. Overweight and transitioning to plant-based, not only because I'm overweight, but because I know it will help with that as well. Coming up with what you eat every day is hard. So the second part of that, which will lead to a question, is Cheryl asks, what does a typical day of eating look like for you? So how, and maybe talk about if you have an approach for like the week, like how do you approach your meals in general for coming up with what you're going to eat?
Oh, all right. So for myself, at the moment, wife's gone back to actually eating plant-based at the moment. So she's kind of gone to and from it a few times since almost 2 years ago when I started. My children are omnivores. They will have some meals that are plant-based with us, and they'll have some things that aren't. Like if I make spaghetti bolognese, they'll have that as plant-based. I'll use a plant-based mince and stuff like that. Sometimes I'll just make a meal that's plant-based, and sometimes I'll substitute some extra stuff in it at the end for them. But all in all, it's kind of a mix. So we kind of figure out dinners. Dinners are our main thing that we figure out for everyone. And we kind of have a split of trying to make it 50-50 for the kids. And so things that we can add stuff to or just at the end for them, and things that we go, all right, well, they're not going to eat this at all. They can have something different on this day, but we're going to have something like that. So that's what we do. We'll figure out our dinners, and that can vary from week to week.
Well, that's just it. Depending on, I'm sure your kids are like ours, and they have evening activities or after school activities sometimes.
Yeah, not so much, but we've got three. I've got three kids. I've got one who's diagnosed with ADHD and autism, and another one that we are in the process of an autism diagnosis as well. So food can be hit and miss with them.
I bet.
And my other child is surprisingly open while being extremely picky.
Right.
So it can be difficult.
Yeah. And how old are they?
My oldest one turns 9 next week, actually. I've got one who is 7 turning 8 in January, and one who's just turned 6 last month.
Yeah. And it'll be interesting for them because you've been eating this way for 3 years now?
Nearly 2 years now.
2 years now. So it's similar to our kids where they've grew up as omnivore. Our kids grew up as kind of pescatarian, vegetarians. But still the same thing. Like our kids have a hard time kind of giving up cow cheese and their ice creams and that kind of stuff. And they still too gravitate towards that from time to time, especially if they go off with friends. I mean, who knows, right? But it is interesting. And because I know, Wooly works with some kids at her school that are on the spectrum as well. And when it comes to food, it's very, routines are important and kind of like what they're used to. So I can imagine trying to integrate, swaps and whatnot are a challenge.
Yeah, it's the progress. Some things have worked, some things haven't. And it's a matter of finding out what's what. Like my son, he will go for an oat milk over a cow's milk. But he'll also go, I want cow cheese.
Yeah.
But if you give him a choice with the milk, 99.9% of the time, he'll go for the oat milk, which actually surprised me given everything. But yeah, so, they come at you with very surprising things sometimes.
Yeah. Over time too. Just like slowly.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, you have lost is it around somewhere between 90 and 100 pounds at this point?
Yeah, I started at my highest. I was 145, or just under 145 kilos, and at my lowest, I've managed to get myself down to 102.8. So, I mean, if in pounds, yeah, that's something around 90, 95, if I'm off the top of my head.
That's a third of your weight, though.
Yeah.
That's pretty incredible.
At the moment, I know I have gone back up a little bit, but that's partly because of how I'm doing things for working out.
Yeah, let's talk about
a slightly different phase for that, and yeah, we can discuss that a bit later. I'm closer to about 110 at the moment.
That's amazing. Well, as someone who went too far with my own weight loss, like I've gained back, I don't know, 30 to 40 pounds when I was at my lowest, but my lowest was too low for my body type and what I was doing. And I just kind of got obsessed with weight loss in a way that was not necessarily helpful long term. So, and also muscle, like I was not at all considering, maintaining muscle as I was losing weight. For me, it was just like, get as low as possible. And I wasn't doing a lot of the stuff that I should have been doing that I definitely recommend to people now. And now I'm gaining it back. And so hopefully a lot of that weight I've gained back, a lot of it's muscle. Or at least I like to believe. my human body pod tells me it's muscle. So I'm going to believe it because it's somewhat scientific. So talk about that and what was the approach? Because there's one thing just to switch over. And what was that like? Were you consciously like counting? What was the process towards not only like shifting over to eating plant-based, but also the weight loss component? Because they're connected, but they can be two separate things.
Part of it was, part of it I thought, I could lose some weight. Absolutely. I'm not going to lie and say that wasn't part of my thinking, but part of it was, honestly, it came down to I just enjoyed the cooking. I enjoyed making things. And I thought, I was eating like crap. I was not eating good. I know that while I was having no major health issues, I couldn't keep doing what I was doing and not expect something.
Right. Yeah, same.
So I'm enjoying cooking like this. I'm cooking ridiculously more healthy food than I've ever cooked before. I'm incorporating so many veggies and fruits and all that kind of stuff in. This can't be bad for me. So I just kind of dove into it, really.
Yeah. And did you find that the weight just started to come off naturally because of that?
Yeah, I'd say I probably lost about 15 to 20 kilos just naturally from eating, because it was about 8-9 months before I even contemplated stepping foot in the gym after I started eating plant-based.
Yeah, but I bet you though, mine's probably in a similar boat. Like I bet you just losing that 20 kilo, like that's what is that, like 40 pounds for
about 45. 20 kilos is about 45.
Okay, yeah, like that's not nothing. Like I remember when I lost my first 25 pounds, I picked up like a 25-pound weight, and I was just like, holy cow. Like, have you done that where you pick up the amount of weight you've lost?
And then some.
Yeah. I remember like distinctly picking up my kids because when I got to like the height of my weight loss, my kids together weighed the same amount as I had lost. And I picked them both up and tried to carry them up the stairs. And I was like, I don't know how I did this. I mean, I also had lost some muscle at that point, but it's amazing what that weight feels like when it's gone.
Oh, well, a month ago, I was able to put 145 kilos onto my back and do squats. So I was able to put myself at my heaviest and move weight in sets of 5 to 8. So when I realized I could do that, I was impressed.
Yeah. So what did you first notice, like even before you stepped foot in the gym? You've lost, 20 kilos, 45 pounds. Describe, do you remember like the difference in just like mood, energy, anything like that?
I definitely had a better energy. Yeah, absolutely. I felt like I could do more. I felt like I could think. And I think that's what kind of gave me the encouragement to do it. I'm like, all right, I can do this. I've got this. And what can I do to get more? What can I do to further this? So, yeah, it was definitely coming in with some more energy and the fact that I felt like I could do more and I wanted to do more.
So what does your workout or your fitness regime look like?
At the moment, I do a push-pull leg split. So 3 days where pushing work, so bench press, shoulder press, stuff like that, kind of chest, shoulders kind of focus. A day pull, which is generally like the back, biceps kind of works. And then leg days, which for some strange reason I really enjoy. Don't ask me why. I'm one of those weird people who actually enjoy it.
You like leg day?
Yes, it's got to be my favorite, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah. Like if I do it right, I will still feel it nearly a week later.
Is that what you like? Do you like that residual feeling of like when the muscles kind of hurt a day or two later because it makes you feel like you did a good job?
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I've heard though, from a training friend is they did say if you're very sore the next day, you might not have had enough protein after your workout, because in theory, it shouldn't be that bad. If it's a little sore the next day, but if it's residual for a couple of days, you might want to look at amping up your protein on the days that you're having like those intense muscle workouts.
Yeah. Nah, I have a funny feeling it's to do with the amount of weight that I move. The fact that I will throw at the moment. For a leg day, I'll throw 150 kilos onto a bar and do squats.
Jesus.
Followed by 130 kilos on a leg press, followed by 60 kilo lunges, followed by I put weight on and I do sets and I spend about an hour to an hour and a half at a time doing that.
Well, that's amazing. So let's let's talk about that, because that's kind of gets into, I mean, we're jumping ahead a little bit, so we'll bounce around here a bit, but that gets into where you're at right now. Because you're now so tell us, for those that don't know, what you've been focusing on for the last little while in terms of, taking your passions and turning them into, potentially a new career for yourself.
Yeah. So, going to the gym, learning how things go, figuring out that not only did I like learning what things do and how things work and why, I started going to a point where my 3 children are all in school 5 days a week. I can look at going back into work and stuff. What can I do that will help me? Because I have my children. I also have my wife who has bipolar that I take care of as well. What can I do that will give me the freedom to do things for a career and still be able to help everyone I need to help at home? And I thought, I love the fitness thing I'm doing. I love the mechanics. I love understanding, and I love being able to explain this sort of thing. So I took that and I looked into doing a PT course. And I spent the better part of 8 months of this year doing a Cert 3 and a Cert 4, getting that completed and becoming a qualified personal trainer.
So there you go. If you live in Perth, Australia, and you want Malcolm to train you, you can poke him. That's very exciting. Congrats! Like that, isn't it such? I mean, it's similar to kind of my journey, where it's just like this thing we become passionate about, just kind of takes over your life in a way, and you just want to share it with other people and you get nerdy about it.
Yeah. No.
Well,
it's pretty cool.
Well, it's what struck me about you in particular is I know. So for those that are part of our Mighty network, you're very familiar with Malcolm because he's been in that community since it began. And at one point, Malcolm was even doing deep dives, and once a week you'd post information on whatever was tickling your fancy at the time.
Yeah, pretty much how I figured it out. Just whatever seemed interesting.
But that's kind of how it works, right? We end up down these rabbit holes, and I'm like, oh, it's like intermittent fasting. Well, let me do a little deep dive into that. And for me, I've been able to like pump that nerdiness into YouTube and whatnot. But you're able to do it into your fitness, which I think is just such a gift, because not only, I remember when I was going to the gym still, I just do my workouts at home because everything I need to do, I can do here. But there was a gym at the top of my street, and I would go there at kind of the same time every single day. And you'd see some of the same people here and there, but there was this other dude who I used to call Fit Santa Claus. It was just like this older guy that was just jacked. And we just kind of nodded at each other every now and then. We were always there the same days. And I remember one day he came over to me, and this is after I'd been going for 8 months. And at this point, I'd probably lost 50 pounds. And he came over and he's like, I just wanted to let you know that I see you every day and I'm amazed by what you're doing. And I just kind of stood, because this guy, I was in awe of this dude, right? Because I'm like, this guy's jacked. Like he's, at an age where most people are not going to the gym every day. Like, and the fact that he was like paying attention to me at all when I was just trying to hide in the corner. Because I think a lot of people that are coming from, being overweight and not typically going to the gym, like we get self-conscious about going to the gym because
100%.
We think we don't know what we're doing. We don't want people to look at us. So we just kind of try to be invisible. So I was shocked that not only was I bad at being invisible, but this person went out of their way. And I think, I don't know, that touched me in a way. And it made me just want to encourage other people as well that like, don't go to the gym. Right. And I've had that experience too, where I've seen like gym bros not mocking somebody, but making glares at somebody who is clearly within their first, couple rounds of going to the gym. But it's like, you know what? That's the person that's hardest for, that just needs the more encouragement. So, you as a trainer coming from, your background as you do, like that's going to be, you're going to have like a personal in with your clients that, some dude that's been fit since he was born is not going to have.
No, 100%. It's definitely something that I, when people are talking about what they want, it's like, if they have that kind of thing, I go, look, this is what I've done. This is what I'm doing. It's something that is achievable, and like something that stages and complications and backtracking, it's part of it. And like, I understand all of that. Like, I've been through all of that. I've had stages where I think I was about 100 kilos when I was about 12. I think I was around 124 by the time I finished high school, and I stayed like that for years. And then from there, I kind of stayed like that until I was in the back end of my 20s. And then I started putting on weight, and then I lost a little for a while, and then I got down to about 110 at that stage as well. But just before I got to 110, I know I started putting it back on. And I think that's when it started going up above the 130 and onwards from there. And then, just it all happened. And then I made one choice, and one choice led to another, and that choice led to another choice. And then I found myself where I am. And I feel like, honestly, it's what works for me. It's what's made the biggest change in my life. And ironically, I owe it all to my wife being pushy about telling me support her and help her, because she wanted to do it. And if I didn't listen to her, I don't think I'd be the person I am.
Amazing. Just kudos. So big shout out to your wife. I'm so grateful to have you as part of this community,
Yeah.
because I think you're just such a beacon of just, your attitude is so great, so light. Cheryl's got another question for both of us.
Yeah.
Have either of you found a good breakfast that keeps you full until lunchtime? When I eat oatmeal, I feel hungry, but an hour later.
All right.
You go first.
So for me, I generally have two types of breakfast. At the moment, where I'm in more of a working on my strength phase rather than weight loss phase at the moment, I will go for something that's a bit more carbs friendly, enough to give me the energy and the fuel I need to actually move the weight and do the work. So I will go for something like an overnight oats, or I might go for something that's like a breakfast cereal. I don't know if anywhere else has it, but we have Wheat Bix, which are effectively like just rectangle dry things that you add milk to.
We have those here. I have some in the cupboard.
Yeah, no, then yeah, there you go. I'll have like 4 of them, and I'll probably put a little bit of sugar or something on it because nobody likes them plain. But yeah, no, it's like I would go for something a bit more carb, and then I will have that a couple of hours before going to the gym. I'll spend an hour and a half at the gym for myself if I go in the morning.
Yeah.
And then by that stage, after I've taken the kids to school, gone to the gym, it's like an hour before lunch, and I'm hungry by that stage, but that's normal.
Yeah.
When I'm focusing on weight loss, I tend to go for a little bit more of a not going keto, but definitely lower carb. So I'll have things like a tempeh bacon salad kind of wrap or something like that. But I will specifically have that a little later in the morning. I'll have that around 9 rather than having it early. That way I held off for that a little bit longer, so I've got that less of a gap between meals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So for me, it's almost always the same, a variation of the same breakfast, and whether I'm days I work out or not. The only difference with me, so when I get up, and for Cheryl, I want to point out too, from the research I've done recently, there is a difference between biological male and female bodies when it comes to when we need to eat, and how it can affect us. So for me, like, I get up and I work out first thing. I don't have anything before I work out. I work out basically as soon as I wake up in the morning because I want to get it over with. And I know that as the day goes on, I'll just never get back to it if I don't. But then I go throughout the day, I'll go for walks. I'll go for like a half an hour to an hour walk at lunch. And if I can in the evening, I'll try to go for some kind of walk as well, or do like some kind of physical thing with my kids on days that allow for it. But in the morning, so I get up. So for women, it's recommended that you have a little something before you do any kind of exercise, because otherwise your body goes into panic mode and it doesn't actually let you release calories and whatnot. It holds on to them. Where men, it's a little bit different. We can get away with it. So keep that in mind for you in particular. But for me, like, I get up, I do my workout, which is anywhere from 30 to 40 minutes. And varies from day to day. Like, half my week I'm doing resistance training, and the other half I'm doing strength and flexibility. So like yoga, essentially, like a variation of like aggressive dude yoga. Although anyone can do it, it's not just for guys. But I use a male yoga instructor online only because I know that again, our bodies are just different biologically when it comes to muscles and whatnot. So I find that helps me, but that's that. And then for breakfast, like, so on those days when I'm doing like something that's definitely taxing my muscles, I will have just water, some protein powder with a little bit of creatine in it, mix that up. And that's like I have that right after I work out. Then I'll usually have a shower, walk the dogs if I got to kick the kids out of the house. And then my breakfast is literally always some version of oats and nuts. It's either in oatmeal or in my granola.
Yeah, love that. I have to admit, love that.
Right. And then I have that with 3 servings of fruit. So usually like an apple, a banana, and a cup of berries, or like a cup of mango. And I mix that with either a little bit of non-dairy yogurt. If it's like the granola, I'll just put a little bit on there.
Yeah.
Or if it's the oatmeal, I just do it in there, and then I'll add nuts to the oatmeal, like a handful of nuts, about 2 tablespoons worth. And I think it's the extra fruit, the extra fiber from the fruit, the carbs from the fruit. And then I'll usually put like a tablespoon of flax if it's oatmeal, and if it's the granola, there's already plenty of seeds in there anyway. That keeps me full. Like I usually don't have lunch until so that's usually I'll eat that around 8:30 in the morning, and then I don't have my lunch until most days 12:30, 1 o'clock in the afternoon after I've walked the dogs. So that keeps me full for at least 4 hours longer. I'd also suggest this. A lot of us are used to just not constantly snacking. It's okay to be empty a little bit, right? Especially if we know another meal is coming shortly. So it's like, as long as you're not having, like, your body is not having the shakes and whatnot, I would say maybe experience hunger for a bit. Allow yourself to just be empty for a bit, and drink water if you're like half an hour away from your next meal, and you'll probably be okay.
And depending on what time you eat, if you do eat really early in the morning, if you eat like 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, you're not eating lunch till 12, 1 o'clock, berries are a great thing. They're very low in calories. Like a punnet of strawberries, your standard smaller punnet, they're like 70 to 80 calories for a whole punnet. So if you feel like you need to snack on something, one of them or even half of them, and just get yourself roughly in the middle, and then keep the other half for the other half of the day.
Yeah,
it's a great little thing.
The amount of berries you could have that replaces like a tablespoon of oil is insane. Cheryl's got another one for us. At any point during your health journey, did you use calorie or macro tracking apps such as Chronometer?
Actually, I use Chronometer quite regularly when I'm focusing on weight loss. So yeah, 100%. I've used some free ones as well before. I just like how Chronometer kind of balances everything out, how it shows it and displays it. It is actually one I do use, and I use it to not only track food, but I use it to track my weight. My scale will show like muscle percentage and stuff like that, so I'll track that sort of stuff and try to figure out what's working and what's not. And if I find that my weight's dropping but my muscle's taking a really big dip somehow, I'll give it a few days and see what happens, because there is a major variation in them just from what you have and everything. But yeah, like I if I'm focusing on weight loss, I do use them, and it's not for everyone. If you find that you get obsessed with that is the number that I have to be under, I've done that, and it's stagnated me so many times, and I realized, all right, I need to bring that number up. So I need to set a number that I'm aiming to get to, not a number I'm aiming to get under. All right, so if I find that for me, say 1,800 calories is fairly good, I will be happy between 1,800 and 2,000.
Good for you.
Right? If I'm focused on that for a weight loss. So I'll set it for 18, and I will know that I'm allowing myself that 200 over. That is my bubble. But I need to make sure I get to that point. Otherwise, I know that I'm underdoing it for what I need.
That I used Spark People, I think is the one that I used when I was doing it, but I know I've heard good things about Chronometer. I've talked about this on the channel. I was way too stringent on the calorie counting, and also know that those apps aren't 100% accurate in terms of like they have a good estimate, but anytime you're using anything that is giving you nutritional information, it could be off by up to 25%. in terms of like, fat, protein, macros, all those kind of things, right? Especially if you're not weighing things to the gram, which don't do that to your mental health. Please don't do that. As someone who did do that with some things at some point, I don't recommend it. But also with your exercise too, right? It tends to be like, well, if you walk this far and this, like, you burned off this many calories. It's not a perfect exact science on those things. It's going to do an estimation, but it's different for every single person, you know?
I find it funny. The irony with exercise is the better you get at it, the less you actually burn from it. So if you're actually quite new to it, you'll find that you'll burn more because your body's going, what is this? I've got to do a lot more. And so you do get a proportionally decreased thing. It's small, but there is actually a decrease as you get better because your body goes, I know how to make this efficient.
It's true.
So, tracking exercise is great for a overall vibe, but focusing on eating right and working out that if something tells you you need this many to lose weight, and then you do that and it doesn't work, try going up, try going down, figure out for a few days, and you'll find that maybe for you that little bit more helps out a little bit more. Maybe that touch less might help a little bit more. Always consult somebody if you're unsure, and if you ever feel like it's causing you issues, definitely get help.
100%. And I definitely recommend for people starting off this way to track your calories. If for no other reason, do it for a month or two, just to understand the cost of food. Just the cost, and the cost of food. Like, what is, like, I think you and I could probably do this. Would be a great game show, Malcolm. It's like, here's a plate of food. Tell me how many calories are on it. It's like the new Wheel of Fortune. Not Wheel of Fortune. The calorie is right. We're going to call it. But it's like, what can you look at this and guess what it would be based on how it goes? You know what I mean? Because I think
I can get a fairly kind of thing. It depends on what's on it. There are certain things, like, for some reason, when it comes to pasta and rice, I'm really bad at judging. Because I'm really bad at eyeballing the size. But yeah.
Oh, because I'm a pasta lover. So when I was really actively losing weight, I would measure like in cups. Like I would just do 2 cups, and then I would look at it and be like, "That's not enough. I want more." And that's when I was like, "Oh, lots of broccoli, lots of other things to kind of fortify it on top of it, which makes a huge difference."
Broccoli is an amazing addition. To be honest, it's high iron, high protein, low calorie. It's one of those weird magical foods that are surprisingly good.
And you can eat it raw. It cooks like that. Especially if you're making pasta, just throw it in at the last 2 minutes with the pasta water. It'll blanch perfectly. If you've got an instant pot and you want to, you could steam it, and you literally put it on 0. Your instant pot, set it to 0 and steam it for 0 minutes. It'll cook perfectly. Mary Ellen asks, did you notice a huge change in how you feel overall? So you kind of talked about this, but maybe like at the beginning, but like talk about like just where you are now versus where you were 5 years ago.
Oh God. 5 years ago, I was, working a manual labor job. I was eating off a van that came around, going to the service station, petrol station, whatever you want to call it. I stopping in for takeout on the way home. I was ridiculously sluggish and not got the energy to do most anything outside what I felt like I had to. And if I was taking the kids to the park, I'd take them to the park. I would push them on the swing, or I'd sit down and watch them. Where nowadays I'm definitely happy to sit down and watch my children. They're old enough they can do things on their own now. But if there's something that really they want me to do, I'll go over there. I'll do it. I'll spend that 5 minutes just doing that thing and then go take my break.
Yeah.
Let them do their own thing. They're old enough where they can do their own thing now, but it's something that I don't think about how much of an effort it's going to be. So it is night and day difference. Like the energy that I've got and the ability to do what I want it's there, where it was a matter of how much of a chore did it used to be.
Well, and the effort it took, yeah. That was one of the main reasons why my kids were getting older, and I was having a hard time keeping up with them, even at 4 or 5 years old. And I was like, I gotta step this up. They're embarrassing me. But I'll tell you, it's and especially if you're a parent, do that. Jump in with your kids. Say yes to your kids. As someone who my kids are in high school now, and I can see the day when they are off on their own and they stop asking me to do things, which they already are a little bit. Just say yes to your kids, especially when it comes to doing physical things, like playing a game or whatnot, going out there and playing, learn a sport. I coach baseball now. I'm not prone to sports, but now I coach a higher level because my kids got into it, and I just wanted to. So now I train with a bunch of teenagers, which is not. It humbles you. Let's just say that. Although when we do our stretches, when I can get down into those yoga poses, like doing pigeon and stuff, all the way down to the ground, they're shocked. They're shocked that I'm as flexible as I am at my age, and it puts them to shame. So it goes both ways.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I'm jealous of my youngest. She can do she can do pull-ups. And it's not something that she was taught to do. She was just capable of doing it. And I'm like, oh, that is just not fair.
The way kids move their bodies, man. We can all get back to that. We get out of it as we age.
Yeah.
I've got to go in for Christina. I'd like Malcolm you to tackle, and I'll jump in if I can add anything. But The question is, any suggestions for a male to keep on weight while eating this way? My husband has been losing more than he needs to.
So it really comes down to what you're eating as well as how much of it you're eating. If you are eating, say, a lot of, all right, you might be doing a lot of things like I'm eating lots of veggies, lots of fruit, lots of things all the time. And you aren't having things that are helping with carbs, and you're not having things that have the protein, whether it be a plant-based meat substitute or whether it be tofu, tempeh, and all that kind of stuff. If you find that you're not putting that kind of stuff into it, your calories do tend to drop quite significantly. And without the calories, you will lose the weight. That is math. But if it comes down to you feel like you are eating a good balance of protein, carbs, and veggies and fruits and all that kind of thing all together, it might come down to, I know that Jeremy's not a big fan of using things like oils, but it might come down to, well, if you feel like you can't eat more, having something that is higher fat, something like some oils, whether it be a little bit of coconut oil or some coconut milk a bit more regularly, or whether it be using an olive oil or something like that, where I know you're not particularly the biggest fan of it, it does sometimes help some people. And it could be having that extra source of fats, or eating things like, if that's not something you want to do, eating things like some nuts and stuff like that is probably a more natural way. It is easy to overeat on things like nuts. They are definitely a high calorie food. So my recommendation would be not putting them in a giant bowl, putting them out in small bowls, having an idea of actual what a serving size is, and figure out, all right, if I can put a bowl of that out in the morning and a bowl of that out in the afternoon, if that's what needs to do to help me stabilize my weight, I can do that. If they'll give me the fats with the high calories, good protein, and all that kind of stuff. And you can have a combination. You don't necessarily have to go, well, I'm having to have nothing but peanuts or nothing but almonds or anything like that. You can just throw yourself your own mix, and but yeah, I mean, that's my kind of suggestion. Just figure out if you are missing something or if you need to add something.
Yeah. And just for what it's worth, like my oil thing really comes down to weight loss and weight maintenance. If you're at a point, and my mother-in-law is someone who, as she's getting older, she's losing more weight than she wants to. I recommend to her, I'm like, throw some olive oil in your salad, you know? So I'm not like fervently 100% against adding oil to stuff like that. If you are at a weight deficit and you need to, like Malcolm said, it's very calorie dense, which for someone like your husband, in his case, might need it. But for people that don't, then it's the easiest thing to pull out, you know? Those are great suggestions. Just keeping the nuts around. She followed up with, where is it? The bowl of nuts is a great idea. And like you said, pre-measure it. And when it's done, that's it. Don't have more that morning, you know? Because basically roughly a tablespoon of nut butter on average is around 100 calories. 2 tablespoons of nuts themselves are about the same, which is literally what fits in your hand. If you can put the nuts in your hand and close your fist, that's roughly 2 tablespoons, which is about 100 calories. So, you do 2 of those, that's going to be an extra 200 calories a day, just roughly. So she says,
I've got a salt and vinegar peanuts that I like. I know about 30 grams of that is about 270-ish calories. So I kind of just go, right, 30 grams is about 300. So I can know if I got 30 grams of that, I know I've got about 300 calories with a little bit of wiggle room depending on what's what.
Yeah. So she's followed up by saying she makes a lot of soups like curries. I like to add tofu and a type of bean and legumes to it. That's great. What I would do for that then is to add a whole grain, a whole carb source like rice or like sweet potato, regular potato, anything like that. Like that's going to add calories.
Naan bread.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I would just, for him, if he's looking to add more, and that way you don't have to change what you're eating, just have him to have more starch, healthy starch. And like Malcolm said, throw some cashews into the curry, add healthy fats, healthy carbs, and then, and especially if you're the volume he's already eating, like he can't physically eat more because he's full, then definitely, like Malcolm said, drizzling a little bit of olive oil on, some nuts, some really, really calorically dense foods that are still healthy are what I would recommend.
100%.
And then build muscle, throw some resistance training in there. And then hopefully the weight he gains will also just kind of make him healthier, especially as you age. Muscle is the thing that kind of like falls off fastest for us. Yeah. Great. Well, I know it's super late for you, so I don't want to keep you too much later. I'll throw in a couple more questions. And if anyone has anything else they want to throw in the bottom, let me know. I'll just give you a couple quick fun ones and then I'll let you go to bed. Thanks for staying up late with us.
For me, this isn't too late. This is kind of my kind of normal.
Oh, okay. You like it.
I'm one of those people. I will go to sleep late and I will wake up a lot earlier than I should.
Yeah. So if someone came to you and they were either feeling stuck being plant-based or skeptical of it, what would be like some quick advice you would give them based on your experiences?
I would ask them what they're eating now and figure out, all right, well, if they're eating a lot of takeouts, well, what takeouts do you actually eat? If they tend to eat things like Chinese or they tend to eat things like Indian, you turn around and go, all right, nice, simple kind of thing. If they are like, I don't really know about this, I probably wouldn't suggest throwing tofu and stuff straight into it, but I would suggest throwing in some cashews and stuff like that into like a curry and stuff like that. Just something to give that protein and all that kind of stuff. And something that they can make, something simple, something that's few ingredients, but give them options to make it something that they would enjoy. It's like, look, try it for One meal. Start with one meal, not one day, not 1 week, not one thing. One meal. Go 1 meal a week. See if you can do that one change. If you hate it, hey, fine. That's okay. But if you're okay with it, or if you actually like it, maybe look at a different meal, whether it be a breakfast or a lunch or something like that. Make that one choice. Just give it a go. And if it's something that you want to do for a portion or your whole diet, I mean, that's a choice that you can make. And I'm not one of those people who sit there going, no, if you're going to do it all. If somebody turns around and say, I'm going to make 3 meals this week I'll 100% get behind that. I will support that. I will go, all right, so tell me, what are you doing? What do you actually want to get out of this?
Mm-hmm.
All
exactly.
Right, well, these
are your goals.
So, and then it's just like, make it realistic for anybody who's willing to give it a go. Because if they feel like they don't have a choice, they're more likely to push against.
That's just it. Yeah. What are your goals? Anything's better than nothing. Right. Yeah. And take your time. Like I said, I took 12 years going from like being omnivore to being plant-based all the way, with a lot of weird detours in between. There's no journey that needs to mirror yours, and you don't need to compare yourself to anybody else.
100%.
Yeah. What's something you know now that you wish you knew when you were starting off making the changes you've made?
Well, honestly, I don't think there's really something that I can really put down to. Because if I knew now what I knew then, I think I would have been more reluctant to experiment and try. I think my love of cooking plant-based came from my lack of knowledge.
Right.
It's one of those things. Like I would have, honestly, the idea that things aren't always going to say the same taste as they were when I started probably would have made things easier, because I found that my taste over the first 3 months drastically changed. That surprised me. Like my flavor palette and what I didn't like at the beginning to what I did like 3 months in were very different. Like it probably took about that long for me to go, okay, well, maybe I don't have to throw that much sauce into a stir fry for the tofu to be nice. And I was able to kind of balance that out better. But in saying that, it took me a little while to really not so much love the taste of tofu, but not think about the taste of tofu when I first had it. And then for me, it's become just a standard staple that it's not something I'm not going to say tofu is my favorite thing in the world. Honestly, 100%. I would actually prefer tempeh over tofu. But I will cook tofu several times a week, and I will go through a couple blocks of it in a week. Not because I feel like I have to, but because it's such a versatile and it's good. So it's like, I can't say I would have changed what I knew, because I never would have done what I did if I had.
Nice. I got a question here from Cheryl. Tips for eating out. I've been invited to a restaurant today for lunch, and I looked at the menu, and there's literally nothing for me to eat. I'm tempted to bring my own tofu and potato. I guess what's the restaurant? What's the? Do you have? Yeah. I have thoughts on this, but I want to know yours.
I know there are some places that have little to no options. Like, I will go to cafe here, quite regular one in Australia, Dome. It's standard cafe, kind of got food, got drinks, got stuff like that. I will generally order falafel bowl. It's a salad, falafels. I'll ask them to remove the cheese that's in it. I'll get the dressing on the side. That way I can choose to add what I want in. And I'm not afraid to say, hey, leave this off and figure out what's on the menu that I can do, that I just need to make a couple changes. Like, hey, just take that bit off, take that off. I don't want that. Put that on the side. I can give it to somebody else.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm one of those people. I will just say, what's the best option that I can make the easiest for me? Yeah. If you go to somewhere like a pizza place, not everywhere's going to have a plant-based cheese. So your options are go no cheese or
take the cheese off.
Pizza.
Yeah, just take the cheese off and have it as like a flatbread with some sauce.
Exactly. It's like that's the easiest fix. It's not the best fix, but sometimes you've just got to make compromise.
Yeah, and knowing you've got like an hour or two before you're going, my quick thoughts are this. First of all, if you're going out with a friend, family, whatever it is, that's what you're doing. You're going to socialize. You're going to hang out. Don't worry about the food. Eat before you get there, or have something when you leave. Bring a snack in your backpack or your purse or whatever you've got is another thing. And just like have, other options that I like to do, especially if I travel. It's like, and I know I'm going with a group, call the restaurant up in advance, because you have to always keep in mind their business. Like, for those that haven't worked in kitchens, it's just like depending on the restaurant, they're making the same dozen meals over and over and over again. They've got what they've got, right? That said, a lot of chefs get excited about being able to make something up on the fly or on the spot, right? But if you go in and it's like super busy, it's not the kindest thing to do to somebody, right? So, but if they know that, hey, I'm coming in at noon today, 12:30 today, and this is what I can't eat, this is what I can eat, is there anything you can do for me? As long as it's not on this list and on this list, I'll eat anything. I've never had an experience where they were like, no, I don't want your money. You just got to give them, and just know it might not be the most like fulfilling, nutritious meal you've ever had, but it might be something. And then, have something before or after, and don't make it about the food, make it about the social experience.
Yeah. But I've gone somewhere on the fly that I've not had a clue what was going on, and we just kind of ended up in a place. I've looked at their menu and I've gone like, well, I can get a bowl of wedges.
Yeah, fries, and it is what it is, and it's not going to be your best meal.
Yeah, I just sometimes it's suck it up, and it sucks.
Yeah.
But when you're making this choice, sometimes you got to understand that unfortunately the world doesn't always work the way that we want it to.
It's not yet built for all of us at this point, but we're getting there, hopefully, one day. So we'll wrap it up here, but I want to ask one last thing for you, Malcolm. So it's like, what would Malcolm from 5 years ago think about Malcolm of today?
Probably that I got dropped on my head. I don't think 5 years ago this would have been a thought that could have even crossed my mind.
Wow.
Who I was then and who I am now are so different in the sense of not who I am as a person, but how I do things as a person.
Yeah.
Sean
says massively impressed. You should be. Yeah. I think you should be. And I think that's what it is. I think I always talk about like this, the 3 things that I change. And I think you're the very exact same. And I think the people that do this and stick with it are the exact. It's like, you can change the way you move. That's important. That helps. Changing the way you eat, obviously. But it's the mental. It's like, once you change the way you approach this and you think about it, then those other 2 things just automatically happen, right?
Yeah.
They just follow along. But it's like, once up here you've decided, oh, this is what I do now. These are the new rules of me. The rest of it just kind of like goes along.
Yeah, I fell in love with the food. The food gave me the energy. The energy gave me the movement. The movement gave me everything. It's a domino effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, Malcolm, thank you so much for your time. I know it's late there. Thank you for everyone who is watching either now or watching after the fact. This is something I haven't done in a while. I'm getting back into the groove of doing some interviews. So if you have anyone you want me to interview, if you have a story of your own, let us know in the comments down below. Otherwise, Malcolm, thank you so much for not only joining us today, but just being such a great, person in not only the PB with J community, but just the plant-based community at large. You're such an inspiration, and I'm so glad we finally got around to sharing your story here. You and I have been trying to do this for a long time.
Yeah. Discussing it on and off for a couple months, and got it done.
Got it done. All right. Well, thank you again. Thank you for everyone. We're going to shut it down now, and we'll see you all very, very soon.
All right. Good night. Have fun. Goodbye. Good day. Whatever. All right.
Thanks, Malcolm.